I never thought that buying a camera would almost cost me my life. But looking back on it now, there's no doubt about how everything went wrong. I'm still shaking and sweating as I tell you this, because the memory is as real and raw as the night it happened. If you're planning to pick up gear from some random seller on Facebook Marketplace, trust me, think twice. It was late September, early evening, maybe around 6 p.m. I live in Manchester, New Hampshire, and I'd been hunting for a new DSLR for weeks. I'm a photographer on the side, and one of my old lenses broke, so I wanted to upgrade to a better body. On Tuesday after work, I stumbled across the listing for a Nikon D750, a great deal. The seller, who said her name was Lisa, was asking only $600, which was well below market. The photos looked legitimate, nice shots of camera from different angles. I messaged her. She had a bubbly but straightforward way of texting, which put me at ease. She said she bought a second camera and didn't need the old one anymore. As we chatted, I mentioned that I'd seen a news alert about people getting robbed on marketplace deals right here in Manchester a few weeks back. She said she understood my concern, but insisted we meet in a well-lit public place. She even suggested a police station parking lot initially, which definitely boosted my confidence. But then she said it was fine at the lot by the old cinema. Trust me, it's quiet there. I should have known better, but I needed that camera. On Thursday, I confirmed the plan for Saturday. I prepped my gear and put $600 in cash into an envelope. Around 3 p.m. that Saturday, one of my buddies from a local photo forum called me, checking in. "Be careful, man," he said, voice low. I told him everything. The deal, the location, even about the police alert. He asked me to send the listing. I pulled up Lisa's profile and handed him the phone. My friend thanked me and hung up. I sat there in my car for a moment, heart racing. We parted ways over the phone, with me heading out to the meet and him staying in town. I double-checked the envelope cash in my lap, noticing one corner was slightly peeled open from nerves. My hands shook briefly as I did. I clenched them on the steering wheel. Finally, I took a deep breath and started the car again. He went quiet as he scrolled. "Bro, is that real?" he said, eyebrows raising. The profile picture of Lisa was of a girl with a perfect smile and curls, holding a camera. It looked almost too flawless. I hesitated. "Yeah, maybe, but she's been really helpful in chats, and the deal's good," I said, trying to sound confident. He frowned. "That face, man, it looks like an AI-generated photo or something. Just be smart about it. Maybe meet at the police station." Seriously, I nodded, swallowing hard. "I'll be careful," I said quietly. I kept both hands on the wheel, my feet tapping nervously against the door. The heater warmed the car, but it did nothing for the chill creeping up my back. Outside, a cat slunk across the lot towards the dark theater entrance. I glanced around again, mentally running through every worry I had. A crow cawed somewhere behind me, and I jumped a bit, but I kept telling myself I was just being paranoid. By Saturday evening, the uneasy feeling still settled in my stomach. I looked around the empty lot and killed the car radio. The engine's hum was the only sound in the quiet parking lot area. At 6:05 p.m. I texted her, "Hey, I'm here." My phone buzzed almost immediately. "Great. Look for me near the white van at the far end." She replied. My fingers were trembly as I hit send. I killed the headlights and rolled down the window to feel the cool night air, which smelled faintly of rain and old pine. The old street lamp in the far corner flickered on. I stared at my reflection in the dark windshield and let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Then, I steeled myself and stepped out. The cool autumn air bit into my skin, and I forced myself to breathe steadily. Every step forward towards the van felt like I was walking deeper into a trap. My palms were sweaty on the camera bag trap, and my breath came out in white clouds with each exhale. There it was, a beaten-up old white Dodge van, parked under the flickering lamppost. It looked like the kind of van a grandparent might drive, rusty, dented, and grimy. There was no license plate up front, just a dirty smudge where one might have. I tried not to stare. Any second thoughts I had were futile now. Next to the van stood a woman in a baseball cap and a gray hoodie, leaning casually against it. The woman noticed me at the same time I noticed her. She gave a small nod and a reassuring smile. "You the one who messaged?" she asked, her voice surprisingly calm. Her cap was pulled low, shadowing most of her face. From beneath it, long brown curls peeked out. She glanced at the camera bag slung over my shoulder. "Yeah, I'm here for the Nikon," I said, trying to sound casual. My throat felt dry, but I kept my face composed. She smiled and said, "Perfect. It's right here." She reached for the back door of the van and swung it open. Inside I saw a couple of cardboard boxes, a cooler, and mostly shadows. The woman then stepped out holding a large black Pelican camera case. The sight of the Pelican case made me breathe a little easier. I set the envelope on cash on the roof of my car and reached out to take the case. The woman handed it to me. I felt its reassuring weight. I opened it slowly. Sure enough, the Nikon was there, looking completely intact. I flipped open the latches a bit further to inspect the camera, running a hand over the lens and buttons. "Everything looks good," I said, forcing my voice to sound steady. The reflection in the camera's lens was that of the woman's calm face. I tried to ignore the uneasy pit in my stomach. Just as I leaned in to look again, the van's back door swung open behind me. A second woman stepped out. That's when my blood turned to ice. The face I saw behind me was not friendly. Brunette I'd been chatting with online. This new woman was shorter, with dirty blonde hair and cold, narrow eyes. She held a pistol casually at her side, then raised it and pointed at my chest. In an instant it clicked. I'd been catfished. The real Lisa I had messaged was a lie. My hands shot up as fear and adrenaline flooded me. Okay, I stammered. The heavy-set man from inside the van lunged forward and slammed me against the side of the van. A sharp pain stabbed into my ribs as something hard pressed into me. I felt a cold hand on my shoulder, pinning me to the metal side of the van. "Open it," hissed the blonde with the gun. She jerked her thumb at the Pelican case. My fingers trembled as I peeled back the envelope of cash. The bills fanned out into the cracked asphalt. I scrambled to grab them, trying to gather as many as I could. "Grab it," the blonde screamed. I clutched the wad of cash desperately, scooping it up and pressing it to my chest. The heavyset guy growled behind me. "Last chance, man. You got anything else?" I froze. A cold sweat broke out on my forehead. I was on my knees now, panic squeezing my chest. Take it, just leave me alone," I croaked, pushing the bills towards her. "I don't want any trouble." She snatched the money from my hands, ripping it away from her fingers. "Phone, wallet, anything." The heavyset man barked. My hands shook so badly I could barely manage the zipper on my pocket. I pulled out my wallet and offered it. "It's all there," I said weakly, knowing better. The blonde man stared at me for a moment, then pressed the barrel of her gun harder into me. "Next," she demanded. Reluctantly, I pulled my phone out as well and held it up. "No other cards," I added. My heart was thudding in my throat. The blonde snatched the phone out of my hands and tossed it onto the pavement with the wallet. "Good," she said. "Get back." We both scrambled away from the van. Just then, 2 shot pops rang out. The rear window of the van shattered in a spray of glass. A bullet hissed past my ear, scorching the skin. My world erupted into chaos. I stumbled sideways as another shot tore into the tall, skinny kid from the van, knocking him to the pavement. The blonde woman screamed and flinched as the heavy-set man cried out on the ground. My knees buckled. I found myself on my hands and knees in the gravel, heart racing and ears ringing. The distant flash of police lights bathed the lot red and blue. I scrambled to my feet and ran. I didn't stop until I was behind my Subaru, pressing myself against the cold bumper. Pain lanced through me. I felt my arm liquid on my side and realized I had been grazed. "Stay down," an officer shouted. But I just hugged my shirt to my ribs, trying not to pass out. One officer knelt beside me, gun still drawn. "Sir, are you hit?" he yelled. I laid there gasping. I think so," I choked out. The pain in my left side was booming. He grazed me. He signaled for medical help and pressed a bandage to my wound. Around me, the robbers were being cuffed. The heavy-set man was moaning on the pavement. The blonde sat sobbing next to him. And the skinny kid was kneeling on the grass with another officer shouting into a radio. My vision narrowed to the red and blue spinning overhead. My mind refused to clear. I could still smell the smoke and feel the gravel imprinting my hands. A paramedic arrived and slid a mask over my face, helping me to lie in a stretcher. I closed my eyes. I had survived. Later in the hospital bed, I stared at the ceiling, patched up and out of immediate danger. My friend was in the room, and he shook his head. He practically tackled me in a hug. "Man, I can't believe you're alive," he said softly. I managed a weak smile, though my body still trembled. I was alive, but inside it felt hollow. They sewed a few stitches into my shoulder and gave me pain meds. My friend didn't say anything more. He just kept shaking his head in relief. I whispered I'm okay. Even though my ribs throbbed, he nodded and left quietly after a while. On the way home, I couldn't stop replaying the parking lot in my head. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that dark lot again. Every time my phone buzzed, I jumped. I guess a part of me expected to see a new message from that fake Lisa luring me into another trap. I was lucky. The bullet just grazed me, and cops showed up in time. But I'll never be the same after this. Now every time I open up my wallet, I count each bill twice. Every time my phone rings from an unknown number, my heart does backflips. I walk down the street scanning shadows. I'm jumping around strangers I once thought I could trust. Even now, days later, I replay that parking lot over and over again. I remember every dark detail. The flickering street lamp, the way that first woman smiled, the glint of her phone screen, and the way the second woman appeared with a gun. If something feels off, I bolt. Trust me, after that night, I never want that feeling again. I tell you all this because I don't want anyone else to go through what I did. It sounds like one of those crazy YouTube stories. It'll happen to me, right? But it did. To me. I could have lost everything that night. That empty lot in Manchester will never feel the same again. Be careful out there. Meet people from the internet only in truly public places. Maybe even the parking lot of a police station. Bring a friend or at least let someone know where you're going. Always trust your gut. In my story, the only thing that saved me is that I decided to run. I never thought a simple photo shoot or gear deal would come to this. That camera in her hand was supposed to upgrade my work and maybe help me save up for a new lens. Instead, I'm lucky to be alive and left without a single photo from that meeting to show for it. Every time I see a marketplace listing now, I do a double take. A smiling face at a photo or a blank profile gets a healthy dose of suspicion from me. Maybe that's how it has to be if I want to stay alive. So yeah, I learned the hard way not to rush into things. I'm still a photographer, still young, and I still love the thrill of a good deal. But next time I go after one, I'll be in broad daylight, with a friend nearby and the police not far off. If anything, this story taught me that even when you think you've covered all your bases, you can never be too careful. I lived through a nightmare, I hope you never have to.